Hey guys, Johnny Two Fingers here. I have gotten my hands on the Far Cry 5 map editor for the PC, and I have to say, despite the bugs and the glitches, I love this thing. I have to start right out by saying that I have not played any custom maps just yet for the single player or multiplayer. I have been jumping into the editor every single chance I get. It's a little intimidating at first. I can only speak for my experience with the PC map editor here, but the basic concepts do apply across the board. But from here forward, my tutorials and speed builds and any other information that I'll be releasing will be based entirely on the PC map editor. After playing around with the objects a little and looking at various concept art and photos and just generally digging around Google Images, I have finally settled upon a design concept for my map. I decided to build a steel foundry. This is just something that would not have been possible on this level with any of the previous map editors. Ubisoft has just knocked it out of the park with this one. And yes, there are plenty of caveats and complaints many people have, but rest assured, Ubisoft didn't build this editor and the arcade system for no reason. It's going to be awesome once they actually update it and work out all the kinks. But the point of this video is not just about bugs and glitches and complaining, it's also about what they're doing right. I know some of you are interested in custom building, which Ubisoft has given us more than enough tools for. This is a dream come true. A lot of these objects and a lot of these ideas are things that I have been talking about since Far Cry 2, and they've just now finally implemented it. Now, many of you may not be familiar with the term custom builds. A custom build means to take existing assets or objects within the editor and create something new with them. The new generic shapes in this editor lend itself well to doing just that. Notice here how I'm making this foundry ladle out of pipes and generic shapes and just playing with the colors and lighting to create the desired effect. This is what makes this editor incredible, and this is why you should be excited about Far Cry Arcade. Yes, there are going to be a ton of terrible maps being uploaded. There already are. That is just the nature of the beast when you let people create whatever they can come up with. A lot of people don't really care to be creative or put the time in, they're just kind of messing around. So they can just bang out a bunch of nonsense maps with a million lions and yetis and toss in a bunch of guns and essentially upload things that really anyone can just make while just playing with the editor. They're not really contributing to anything at all. It's gonna take a while before we start seeing a quantity of genuinely good maps. Now don't get me wrong, there are a lot of the old school mappers from back in the day that were given the map editor early, so they've had time to work on stuff. So there are good maps being uploaded. A good quality map takes time and thought and effort to build. If you're watching this, you're likely interested in building maps and perhaps looking for some inspiration. Well, there is no better inspiration than looking at the maps that other people are making. Just please don't re-upload anyone else's map without their permission. That's a dick move, and you deserve to be kicked in the crotch by a horse for doing so. It's fine to be inspired by someone and even copy their style. Just respect the long hours and weeks and months it can take to build a map, please. Once you have decided on a theme for your map, the best way to get an accurate representation of what you want to make is to use reference images. Just Google it. I actually watched a few episodes of how it's made and short documentary style videos to get a better understanding of the way the steel foundry would actually look and function. Look closely at every detail of your references and formulate a plan. Then you have to take up the overwhelming task of searching through the assets to see what you can use to make your world with. This is much easier, to my understanding, on PC because there's literally a search bar. And I'm really hoping Ubisoft makes that available for the consoles. Okay, so here are some things you should know when building, especially on PC. There were a few issues I kept running into while building my map and creating custom objects, especially when selecting and copying groups of objects. To select a group of objects, you must first make sure the selection tool is active. Then you click on your first object to highlight it, and while holding the Shift key down, you select each additional object one by one until you have your desired selection. This is where it gets tricky, because to duplicate an object, you also hold Shift and move the object by clicking and dragging on the widget. So, while you are selecting your objects, be mindful not to click on the widget accidentally. because you will create duplicate objects that will just be sitting right inside the original. You won't even notice until you try to move one of the objects and realize that it has a clone buried in it. Now aesthetically this is fine, but what you're doing here is essentially wasting precious object budget on duplicate objects. So I've just started making it a habit of moving and deleting pieces and then undoing it with Ctrl-Z, just to make sure that it's just the one object in that space. I was absolutely shocked at how often I would have a duplicate just hiding in there. So just be mindful of this. I'm hoping they sort this out with an update. I know user error does happen from time to time, but this can be a bit much. It really cuts into your build time, most definitely. All those minutes that you spend correcting and deleting and moving things around, that all adds up. Oh, and since I'm talking about multiple object selection, another trick that I learned while selecting multiple objects: if you accidentally select an object that you didn't mean to, instead of having to start all over again, just point at the object that you want to deselect, make sure your selection tool is enabled, and then hold the Alt key and click the object that you want to deselect. And what do you know? It's deselected. This also saves you a ton of time. I'm going to go over all this in more depth in my tutorial series. Also worth mentioning, there are object intersecting errors that people have been having while attempting to validate their maps. They are entirely the fault of physics-enabled objects. On PC at least, we are given a little orange icon on the object thumbnail indicating that the object has physics enabled, which at the time of this recording cannot be disabled on those objects. So I've just avoided using them all together, as the physics-enabled objects have been an issue in the map editor even way back in Far Cry 2. They actually ended up patching them out completely. So I just skip all that mess and build without them, which is unfortunate because that is limiting you on the objects that you can use, and there are some really cool ones in there. So Ubisoft, if you happen to be watching this for whatever reason, please just give us the option to turn off the physics on those objects. That would be great. Thank you. Also, I've been seeing this issue pop up in Discord chats and in the forums. A lot of complaints about this. If you're editing on the PC and you keep having stuttering and frame rate drops and just experiencing garbage performance, I know it sounds really weird and kind of silly, but if you haven't played the single player campaign yet and completed the first main mission, do so right now. What that's going to do is it's going to update your graphics settings for the editor and smooth things out quite a bit. If you do that and upgrade your graphics drivers, that should help immensely and get things running smoothly. That's not to say that you're not going to have some bugs and little hitches here and there, but it greatly improves your performance. I'm just covering some basic stuff here, just giving my overall take on this editor. I'm really enjoying the tedium that is map creation. I jumped in with both feet doing this intense custom build. I just wanted to start out with a bang after so many years of being away from the editors in any serious capacity. I was really into Far Cry 2's editor. I mean, really into it, and it feels so damn incredible to be back at it again. Ubisoft has finally taken some major leaps in the right direction. It's great to be back in the map building community. Ubisoft is aware of a lot of these bugs and they're working out the issues with the Far Cry arcade. It's expected something this big and crazy will have some problems when it first comes out. Just be patient. I never thought I'd be saying this ever, but Ubisoft really are listening, and they're actually working on the problems. I just wanted to give you guys my first impressions with the editor. I'm currently preparing for an in-depth tutorial series. There's a lot to dig through here. If there's any aspect of this editor that you would like a tutorial on, let me know in the comments and I'll try to get to those things first. If you guys have any questions or issues with the editor or just want to know how something works, drop a comment below. I'm not an expert with this editor by any means, but I'm pretty comfortable and confident with it. I'll be posting this build as a separate speed build so you guys can kind of see the long view of it, and I'm going to continue on with it until this map is finished. So you guys will be able to see from start to finish how I put this thing together. Now it's obviously going to have to be broken into individual pieces as this build is going to take me forever. Anyway guys, if you like this video, just jab that like button with your computer finger, and if you want to see more like it, or are interested in a thorough tutorial series, go ahead and give that subscribe button a good firm poke. And hit that bell icon if you want me popping up on your YouTube notifications every time I post a video, which is currently roughly 1 video per week. Hopefully I can jump it up to do more here soon. Life has been super busy lately, but you know damn well I'm making time for you guys and putting effort into my content. At the end of the day, I'm going for quality over quantity. I hope I've been hitting that mark. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.